We are living in times of numerous conflicting forces, when it's very important to be politically correct. But during the same time, someone who opposes political correctness in favor of being blunt has gathered a cult following. This video is about Jordan Peterson, the Canadian clinical psychologist, author, speaker, social commentator, and YouTuber who has made a fortune by denouncing popular beliefs and ethics. Jordan Burnt Peterson was born on June 12, 1962, in Edmonton, Canada, with a Norwegian lineage. His mother, Beverly, was a librarian at the Grande Prairie Regional College, and father, Walter, was a school teacher. He grew up at Fairview as the eldest of 3 siblings. At an early age of 13, Jordan was exposed to profound socio-political literature in the form of writings of George Orwell, Aldous Huxley, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and Ayn Rand. The librarian at Fairview High School, Sandy Notley, had introduced young Jordan to the fine literature that influenced him and guided his life philosophy. He joined the left liberal New Democratic Party, or NDP, and worked for it until the age of 18, when he became disillusioned with the party's social democratic ideology. He assessed the party through Orwellian lenses. One thought from Orwell's 1937 book, The Road to Wigan Pier, particularly stuck with him, which goes, "The intellectual, tweed-wearing, middle-class socialist who didn't like the poor, they just hated the rich." After schooling, Peterson enrolled in GPR College, Alberta, to study political science and English literature. He later completed his BA in political science in 1982 from the University of Alberta. He then took a sabbatical and went to Europe for a year. He didn't spend the time in leisure, but pursued his deep interest in humanities. He studied the psychological origins of the Cold War and 20th century European totalitarianism. He also studied the works of the stalwarts of psychology and philosophy, Carl Jung, Friedrich Nietzsche, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and Fyodor Dostoevsky. Intellectually enriched, he returned to Alberta to complete his second BA in psychology. In 1991, he did his PhD in clinical psychology from McGill University, Montreal. He remained at McGill as a postdoctoral fellow for 2 years before moving to Massachusetts, where he worked as an assistant and an associate professor in the psychology department at Harvard University. At Harvard, he supervised a number of unconventional thesis proposals. During this time, he discovered that he was a very impactful speaker. His lectures became highly popular among students, and he became an admired figure. In July 1998, he returned to Canada and eventually became a full professor at the University of Toronto. He also started practicing clinical psychology while studying religious, ideological, and political psychology. He was prolific in publishing academic papers and put out his bold thoughts. He had been testing the waters and found good reception for his views. The time was ripe to come out with his first book, which he had been working on for 13 years. His book, Maps of Meaning: The Architecture of Belief, was published in 1999. It was about how people construct meaning from belief and make narratives, what creates and takes social conflicts to the extreme point of genocides like the Holocaust. He professed the unsettling idea of analyzing the world's religious beliefs and morality. The soul-searching book got mixed reviews. Psychology Journal described it as an original, provocative, complex, and fascinating book, which is also at times conceptually troubling, unduly repetitive, and exasperating in its format. However, the positive values of the book far outweigh its detractions. In 2014, a 13-part TV series on the book was aired on TV Ontario. Peterson now ventured out with his radical views in video format and started his YouTube channel in 2013. He started publishing his recorded lectures, including the ones in his book. He got traction and millions swarmed to his channel, fascinated by his explosive thoughts. He hired a production team and made the channel more professional. To date, he has gotten over 2.7 million subscribers and about 150 million views. He's also started crowdfunding to keep his mission going. He was gathering about $80,000 per month on Patreon until December 2018, when Patreon decided to terminate his account, citing hate speech. Peterson came to be known as a controversial and divisive right-wing figure. His teachings reflect in his quotes like, I don't think that you have any insight whatsoever into your capacity for good until you have some well-developed insight into your capacity for evil. He made headlines in 2016 when he opposed the Canadian Bill C-16. It was an act to amend the Canadian Human Rights Act and the Criminal Code, passed by Parliament of Canada to introduce gender identity and expression as a prohibited grounds of discrimination. He argued that the bill would make the use of certain gender pronouns into compelled speech, and related this argument to a general critique of political correctness and identity politics. He released a series of videos on his YouTube channel against the bill. The first of the three-part lecture series was titled Professor Against Political Correctness, Part 1, Fear and the Law. This got him subsequent media coverage and attracted support as well as criticism. By 2018, Peterson had stopped teaching and doing clinical practice. He devoted full time to social commentary, podcasts, and managing his YouTube channel. He participated in organized debates with intellectuals from the other side of the political spectrum. In 2018, he debated twice with Sam Harris, the American philosopher and neuroscientist, over the topic of religion and God. Peterson's religious views are influenced by Jung's philosophy and Christian existentialism of Soren Kierkegaard and Paul Tillich. Due to his potentially inflammatory views, Cambridge University canceled his visiting fellowship invitation, which Peterson thought would give him the opportunity to talk to religious experts of all types for a couple of months. Peterson, however, kept growing from strength to strength in the face of all the criticism. In January 2018, his second book, 12 Rules for Life: An Antidote to Chaos, was published by Penguin Random House. The book simplified the abstract ethical life principles from his previous book. During his promotional world tour, Peterson was interviewed in the UK by Kathy Newman on Channel 4 News. The way he handled Kathy's aggression with a composed demeanor got him considerable fame and bolstered his preferred image as a coolly rational man of science facing down the hysteria of political correctness. The debate video has gotten over 20 million views on YouTube to date. Fox News host Tucker Carlson described it as one of the great interviews of all time. Subsequently, Peterson's book became a bestseller in the UK, US, Canada, Australia, Germany, and France, making him the public intellectual du jour. Peterson continues his war on political correctness wrapped in postmodern neo-Marxism, or cultural Marxism. He debated Professor Slavoj Žižek in Toronto over happiness under capitalism versus Marxism. He soars high against all allegations of being a rabble-rouser and provocateur. With his YouTube channel and books, he's amassed a net worth estimated to be $4 million, and he looks like he'll keep impacting a large number of people for a long time to come. That was all about Jordan Peterson. How much do you agree with his views and his credibility to say what he says? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for the latest updates.